know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We got to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
Chief Concerns is presented by BetOnline and Olipop. Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns, and ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. Come on, baby. Go. Yes. That's a first down. This football season, I'll be putting down normal sodas like Coca-Cola for Olipop. Olipop offers a healthier alternative with its low sugar content and natural ingredients. Olipop is more than just a drink. It's a wellness companion that supports your digestive health. Packed with prebiotics, this fizzy elixir helps promote good bacteria in your gut, leading to improved digestion and overall well-being. So go ahead, click the link in the description and use promo code SODALOVE and get your can of Olipop so you can enjoy the game guilt-free. Go Chiefs. Use the promo code SODALOVE for 15% off now. Hey guys, welcome to an episode of Chief Concerns. This is your first post-game show of the 2024 season. I'm Marcus Dash. That's former Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn in the middle right there, and my brother Teja Dash on the right. So, you know, you hear the saying all the time, football is a game of inches. And tonight, I think you saw, it's a game of inches. It's a game of toenails. It's a game of toes. And the Chiefs won by a toe tonight. And quite frankly, I don't think they should have won that game by a lot more than the way it ended. And we'll get into all that tonight. But, guys, before we kind of go into it a little bit, what was your overall take from this 27-20 win over the Baltimore Ravens?
I tell you what, I was pleased for it to be the first game, dropping the banner there in GH Field, Arrowhead. I think the guys came in and they delivered. They did a good job. They had a good game plan as far as like what they wanted to do to stop Lamar and stop and Henry. So I think they did a good job defensively, a lot better. So what I was calling on, some of the things, 2 points was pressure. For one, right, bottling up Lamar as much as possible. And so what he tried to do was just try to put it on his back to make plays and get him in a position to win games. Isaiah likely just went off tonight. And so that's hard to contend with. But you know what? They had a hard time with our tight ends. And so, I like that 12 and 13 personnel. I put out there, man, that their defense was shook. Offensively, I think we looked really well. I think we went down the field. Really good. There were some spurts that we could have done better. Some of the calls, and I'll get into that. That to me, it was like, okay, I don't know what we call that, but it's all right. I think they were very confident in what they had, the game plan. Xavier Worthy, first-year guy, comes out there, man, 2 tubs. I mean, I could not believe it. I didn't see that coming at all. I knew he'd have a couple of catches. I didn't know that he would contribute like he did. But, man, he was phenomenal, on fire. Rashee Rice, I mean, what can you say? I mean, he is a slot assassin is what I said, okay? And the thing is, he roams inside there so good that number 40, I don't even know who it was. I was looking at number 40. I said, man, he looked like he's Rodney Harrison out there right now, or as old as he is, because everybody was giving him the business. I was just like, man, did this guy just show up today? But you know what, man? Offensively, Pacheco did a great job. Patrick doing a great job extending things with his feet. I didn't like the last couple of plays. It seemed like they didn't care if he was going out of bounds or not, and they should have called the first one on Roquan on the out of bounds because he knew he was going out of bounds and he pushed him down. Should have called it the second one going to his legs and knees. That was just a dirty play. The guy should have known better than that. Heck, his own teammates should have been like, "Hey, man, like stay up. You want to protect guys. You do."
Yeah.
Other than that, man, I think they really handled them really, really confidently, to be honest with you. And so I don't think there was in any type of dire straits at any point in the game at all. So Baltimore did a good job trying to come back at the end. So,
Teja, your broad thoughts on the game?
It was a weird game because there are some times where it was close and I felt worried. Well, obviously, not even counting the last drive. There were times throughout scatter where I'm like, this game's too close, and we were playing bad at some parts, and then it felt like it shouldn't have been that close. We should be up by a lot more than this. But overall, I mean, look, it's a really, really good opponent. And you have to remember that it was their revenge game. Like, that's the last game they played was their worst loss of last season. So it's the very next game. So they always say it's hard to beat a team twice in a row. We literally beat them twice in a row. The last two games they have played on a football field, they have lost to us. So I'm not sure how many times that's happened in history. Probably not that many times where a team just beats the next team in the next game in the regular season for the next year. And what's even crazier is that I guess there's a reason why it felt that way, because they had more first downs, they had more plays, they had more time of possession, they had more total yards. They averaged 2 yards per rush more than us. Same amount of turnovers as we did. So it's like we won that battle. You can't say, like, oh, we got the ball of turnovers. We beat them barely in passing yards, just by 14. We have more yards per pass. I think that's what it was. We just have bigger plays, I think. But they had some long ones too. So that's why it's just so odd that they beat us in so many categories, and we ended up winning the game. And for them, they got to feel terrible because they basically lost the playoff game against us because of a few inches on the goal line where he fumbled it. And now they lost this one because of an inch past the end zone. So they've really, they've gone too far. They've gone too short. Now they need to kind of just put it in the middle somewhere. But what a start to the season, man. We won and the NFL won big time yet again, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. JD, obviously you mentioned Xavier Worthy, and that was kind of you and I. We talked on our show earlier this week. We kind of weren't expecting that kind of game right out the gate for him, and it looks like it was a seamless transition. I think I saw one of your tweets online. It really was. It seemed like a seamless fit and a seamless transition from a guy playing in college to coming to the NFL, and just finally he looks like he belonged to play in Kansas City. And right out the gate, I mean the reverse for his long run for a touchdown. So no wide receiver had it. We didn't have any wide receiver had 20 plus receiving 20-yard touchdowns last year. No, I think we had 2 last year, and Xavier Worthy had 2 in one game. So two 20-yard touchdowns last year from wide receiver in one game. We had 2 all year last year. So we kind of got that home run hit potential again in the offense. We thought it was going to be Hollywood right out the gate, but now Xavier Worthy right out the gate. And then when Hollywood returns maybe next week, that's another home run hitter we got. And then Rashee Rice doing what he did, working the inside. But we'll get to red zone woes, and that's something that we generally always an issue with as far as finishing in the red zone. But what did you guys make of what you saw from the pass catchers? Just Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, second year. Oftentimes you have sophomore slumps from receivers. There's no sophomore slump with Rashee Rice. He's looking like second year. He's taking it and riding with it. He looks amazing. So what were your kind of thoughts on what you saw from the pass catchers between the receivers that we have?
Well, I don't think that some of the routes that Rashee was running was real difficult. Just a lot of slants, a lot of shallow crosses. I mean, that's all it was. and they was running man. And so what he was doing is just finding the hole, finding the window. The one that he threw to Xavier Worthy up the sideline, I think it was cover 2. At least that's what Marlon Humphrey was thinking, that he was going to have help over top, and he didn't. So I don't know as far as like what the miscommunication about that was, but he kept playing. And so when you talk about that seamless transition off from Xavier Worthy, look, they playing in front of big crowds down there in Texas all the time, right?
Yeah.
But it's also you just want to know if that speed is going to translate to the NFL. Okay, are you going to be the lights too big? So even if you're playing in Texas, a lot of people in front of you, this is a bigger stakes. Okay, you're getting paid for it. All right, now you're doing something that you always wanted to do. Now, when college is going to the NFL, and how do you make your mark there? So he did that today. Played a good game. But you just see the potential and the speed, man, and also just weaving in and out the traffic, those big guys in front of him. And so that's part of what his thinness is going to be able to do. They may talk about his thinness not being able to take a hit, but that joker's going to be able to get skinny in the hole, right, and get around some folks. So that's a beautiful thing. Rashee Rice, like you said, he's just a dangerous guy in the middle. It's a bigger receiver. We thought Hollywood Brown, and this is what I was thinking more so that obviously Holly Brown, he's going to be playing more of the slot. I'd have Rashee out there outside a little bit more. But those positions are interchangeable. We know how it works here with the Chiefs. But anytime you have a matchup with him and a linebacker, you're going to lose, or a safety, you're going to lose against Rashee Rice. And I love it because that's what they were just dictating. They were dictating, moving him around a little bit just to see what the matchup was going to be. And as soon as Patrick seen it, man, he went after it. So it was a good game plan, like I said. But I tell you what, man, I feel like the guys were really relaxed. They didn't have any type of worry. I didn't see that. I don't think they even thought of like anything as far as like they were going to lose. To them, they were just looking for more opportunities. More opportunity. Pacheco played a brilliant game today. Brilliant. So it was good to see Sanjay Piran too. But I'll go ahead, Teja, go ahead and talk about it a little bit, man.
It's true. Rashee Rice's routes are like, he's not Devontae Adams out there, right? Not that he's not good at running routes, but I just think he's so good at doing his specialty. And I think he compliments Worthy so much too, because the minute Rice starts to eat at you with those yak yards, then you kind of take one of your eyes away from Worthy, and boom, gone. You lost track of him for a moment. And when Hollywood comes, even good luck with that. And then I just try to point now where even if you know what he's going to do, I mean, because look, how many years in a row have we seen Kelce, a guy that pretty much people know his route tree? He does improvise a lot. And maybe that's something that Rice is just slowly picking up from him too. It's like, hey, they know my move, but they don't know where I'm going with it. So if I shake a little, give a little wiggle, as long as him and Patrick are on the same page, that's all that really matters. And he was going to him, man. He was going to him a lot. And it takes because Patrick's so accurate like that, and he's so good at those routes, it takes a really sticky cornerback. And we saw it with, I forgot who it was, who batted down that ball. He had to make a good play on that because it was right there. I mean, that ball was headed to his hands. And he was great in college at that. Those scramble drill plays where the quarterback tracks him. And that was his specialty in college. And I think he just continued to now. And we have so many guys out there that you have to keep. And we said this too. Like last year was a lot tougher for him. His experience as a rookie in that kind of offense where so many eyes were on Rice played to his advantage so much because a couple more games like this from Worthy, I don't even know, a couple more, you can't zero in on Rice. You can't be like, that's the guy we got to stop today, because there's just so many other guys that are going to beat you. We have so many weapons. So if it's not going to be him one game, then they'll double him or they'll shade to his side, and you're going to have someone else wide open. This is before we even get back our number one offensive acquisition of the offseason in Hollywood. It's really exciting. I didn't even go on really about Worthy, but I mean, he did exactly what we brought him in here to do. 2 catches, 47 yards, and 1 run for 21 yards. Boom. Like, that's it, right? I mean, like, Tarico had that stat, which is just, like, crazy. We had 1 TD outside of the red zone last year. That's passing TD. That's just crazy. Like, think about that. We already check. I mean, we're going to blow by that. Well, obviously, we almost are blowing by it, but, you know, it's just night and day from last year. And I can't wait to see this offense just keep growing, especially as we get healthier. Well, Hollywood only.
Yeah. Having him back is going to be open up even more so. JD, I do want to ask this. Obviously, lots of love from this game. Talk about tight ends. Obviously, before the game, Noah Gray got his contract extension, and they utilized him a lot tonight. I actually almost went back and placed another bet. Just, you know what? They just paid the man. The guy's going to get a lot of touches tonight. And he did get a lot of touches. His over-under for catches was 1.5. His over-under for yards was 12.5. And he had 3 for like 37, I think, tonight. So he had a great game. But one thing that was noticeable, Kelce looked like he was rotating a little bit more. He was coming out of the game a little bit more than we've seen. I guess last year we saw him rotate a lot, rotate somewhat when he was coming back from an injury. But it seemed like there was more of a rotation there at tight end with Kelce coming in and out of the game. What did you make from Kelce tonight? And what do you make of this? Because a lot of people are saying online, it's like usually the Chiefs offense runs through Kelce. Today, it didn't seem like that, or did you know something on defense? They were doing something actively to kind of take him out of the game, so he had to go to the Rashee Rices, the Xavier Worthies of the world.
Yeah, I think when we were bringing in 12 personnel, 13 personnel, you know, Travis, obviously, that's the one guy that you can't let kill you. And so you always going to game plan to stop Travis Kelce. So Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, I think that's the reason Rice and Worthy were open as much as they were, right? And so then it was like, well, shoot, then we can't just double Kelce all the time. Or if we put Kyle Hamilton down on him, those 2 guys are going to eat. So it might have seemed that he rotated, and he probably did. He probably rotated, but I don't think to the detriment of just thinking like he was like, you know what I'm saying, being replaced a whole lot. I just think he was in there a lot blocking. He was in there. He was blocking a whole lot. He got the one holding call. I said, man, he's holding on to that dude like he does Taylor Swift. Ugly. And so, you know, that was one of the calls, but he was doing a whole lot of blocking. He was running a whole lot of routes, but obviously if you don't get the ball fed to you, then, you know, you're going to look like you're non-existent. But I will say this. I'm so happy for Noah Gray first getting the extension that he did. Well-deserved, man. He's a guy that brings his lunch pail and hard hat to work every single day. Unsung hero. He does a lot for the Chiefs that people just don't see. And it was good for him to get rewards, not just monetarily, but also, too, with yards tonight. And so he almost had a touchdown. I was hoping he was going to get in because I was going to tweet something like that out. But, you know, the tight end group, and I think that was very important, not just with the Chiefs, how good our group is with Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, and then, of course, Jared Wiley. But also you had to think about, you know, Baltimore, same thing. They had 2 good tight ends. So I would say, man, they're right there, you know, top 5 tight end rooms in the league, if not number 2, to be honest with you. We'll be talking about full, you know, a compilation of them. But Likely did a great job. I mean, he's seen what he did. So he's always going to be a hard matchup. The way he hit George Karlaftis, I was actually surprised at that. I was surprised at that. But, you know, our offense, our tight ends, they do it all the time, and people just don't really talk about them as much. Okay, I kept hearing all their pass catchers, this and that. More so, I was seeing Travis Kelce block on the line of scrimmage. I was watching Noah Gray pull around in the hole. This is what they were doing, and so the subtle things you don't quite see because they're in their sets, tight end sets. You know, like in the King set and whatnot. You don't really get to talk about it. You don't really get to see it because all you're looking at is catches. But they was actually mowing guys down and opening holes up for Pacheco.
Tay's thoughts on Kelce and the tight end group and Noah Gray?
I mean, maybe one of his worst starts to a game, maybe in one of his careers, right? Through a quarter and a half, he had like a net negative 10 yards because of his holding penalty. So a great 2.5 last quarters, if you consider that. And I don't think it's even because I know a lot of people are going to make about maybe a slight decline. I just think it's the way it's got to be. One, we don't need him to do that anymore.
Right.
You know, you hear a lot of guys, more so in the NBA, right? Because in the NFL, when your play declines a little bit, it's more of a steep decline, and like you're usually gone like a year later. They cut that contract; they don't want any part of it. You see it a lot in the NBA where guys' minutes decrease. Like I brought up the other day as a joke on the betting show, Tim Duncan, right? To maximize a guy's career, he plays less minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of guys can extend their career out by just being more efficient, utilizing them more when they're on the court or field, and just playing less overall. And especially when you have a team that you don't need to do that. Like, it's not necessary anymore. We don't have that kind of team. Like, why lean on a guy who's not going to be, healthy for us or at his best in the playoffs when we need him the most, right? So I just think it's smart. It's just smart playing. I think it has nothing to do with what he can do. I think if we wanted to lean on him for like a 10-catch game, we probably could have tonight.
Absolutely.
Would have been forcing the ball, and it's not necessary. We have guys who are out there who can do it, and we're still missing one. So, it's a big difference when you see a guy like Juju out there who was our number one, 2 years ago?
Yep.
And now he's a last-minute pickup before the season starts, number like 4 or 5 or 4. It's just – that's the difference. That's when you needed Kelce to do everything for you and be Superman. You just don't need it anymore. You have another tight end who's that important to us, so we ink up to a nice-sized deal, actually. I don't know what he is on the list of highest-paid tight ends, but he's probably not that low anymore. So we have the depth at that position and in other pass-catching positions. Even our pass-catching running back is really good at his job. So it's just, I think it's just a necessary thing. I want to see more of Travis, but I want to see more of him what I mean by that is for a longer time. I want to see him for a few years.
Yeah.
I don't want to just see old Travis trying to catch 10 balls a game, but gets hurt because he's overworked and he looks like a shell of himself by the playoffs. I don't want that. And I think last year showed them that. It was like, that's what we need to play. This is it. This is the way to do it, right? So more of that. I'm cool with it. And you know what? Like you said, they started paying more attention to Rice, and he's wide open, and it's easier for him. And that's when you exploit those matchups then. So we can just switch it up all the time, shift gears on offense of who we're going to.
Yeah. I want to ask about that. So we got a comment here by Mitch Glinka. Teja's right. By the way, Juju's one look was a drop ball. Go figure. I did want to. That was the one drive. I think that was shortly right after the fumble that they had. That was the strip sack, and then we had the ball there. Pacheco's wheel route, which he dropped. It was right there. Mahomes peppered that bad boy in there. He dropped that, and I think that the 2 plays later was the Juju. He had the ball, caught the ball, then dropped it the 2-yard line. That was the one where it was like, oh, man, what's going on here? The drops just coming out again. And then that was pretty much it. We didn't see any more drops after that. But I will say that what Teja was talking earlier about how the game shouldn't have been close. It was 13-7. We had 2 opportunities where the strip sack, we came up with a field goal there. And then when they had the turnover on downs, it ran midfield. And we didn't really do anything with it. We got a field goal out of it. Or I think that was, we got a field goal out of it. The turnover on downs at midfield. And that was the 2 extra the 6 points we got from there. But that was where I kind of saw. I mean, it was weird because offense is scoring touchdowns with 4 minutes on the opening possession for us in this first half. Opening possession in the second half, we score within 3 minutes. And then we have sputters like that where that happens. What did you notice from the drives where we did stall out, JD, where we couldn't put points on the board as far as the strip sack area, when we got the ball at midfield?
Well, what teams do, they adjust. They adjust to, what went wrong. Why'd you go down and score in like 4 minutes? First drive, right? So you immediately come over to the sideline. You start speaking of like, what's going on with the, communication? Who's the one that's going to be able to beat us? And so what they at least, started to do is they started kind of just playing, kind of face up on guys. And I think, for them defensively, it's all about the same thing. Like, do you get in lanes? Do you stop the run? do you get some pressure on Patrick Mahomes? And they did. They started bringing a little bit of pressure. Our guys, soon Mate gave one up. They got them off on third down. And so, they're going to play defense. First off, this is Baltimore, okay? We ain't talking about, maybe Tampa Bay or somebody like this. This is Baltimore Ravens, okay?
Man.
All right?
Shot Tampa, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You know that. You know it's going to be that.
Poor Tampa, man. We've been in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know it, but hey, but the fact is, this team was looking to go to the Super Bowl last year, and we was a pity party. We stopped them, and so they're a very good football team. We know that they're a very good football team. They got better this year in Henry back there, and so my thing is, there's going to be laws like that in offenses. Okay, everything's not going to be perfect. This is first game of the season. Look, Juju probably could have turned his hand and caught the ball this way. Like you said, that ball to Pacheco, little pepper on it. He probably could have caught the ball, but we know there's a little pepper on it. Okay, something a little bit different. That the ball that was thrown to him, I think Pat was like, "Woo, maybe just a tad little pepper on it." But Pacheco probably could have gotten it.
Yep,
should have gotten it. But you're gonna have that. And I said, man, that's probably the first game of the season. I didn't even think about ops and nothing. I didn't even think about that at all, to be honest with you. So when I'm just because I played, I understand how games go. I being there, there's going to be a drop here. Somebody's not going to do something right there, and it's the long game. That's what you guys can work on. It's like who makes the least amount of mistakes to win the game. Who's capitalizing on every opportunity they have to win the game. And so I felt like the Chiefs were handily just really kind of going down the field on them. And so methodically, when they were thinking about how do we, attack them, 12 and 13 personnel, okay? Let's go put the ball in the hands of the playmakers, right? So let's go back to Rice. Second half, let's go back to Rice and then start working again. So I think when you start trying different things, and it's good to run the football because you don't want to become predictable. We had some hard yards running the ball. Sanjay P. Ryan came in, probably still could have been running, hit his head on the goalpost. If he caught that one over there, the check down.
Yep.
No.
Beautiful pass, almost one hand almost pulled it in. And just little things like that you just go miss in a game. It happens. It happens. So I guess, for me, when like as a coach, I know it's going to be those things like, okay, now what do we do to get over that? Okay. Hey, next series, what can we do to improve? So it was a chess match. It's a chess match in the course of a game with two great teams going at it, and it came down to a toenail. And I thought it was ballsy that Harbaugh saying, if we make it, we're going for two.
I thought he was going to do that.
I said, oh, wow. And I said this game right here was going to set the tone for the NFL season about how serious these two teams are, right? And this game was indicative of that. They're here to win. They want to win. If you win this game, then you're already setting yourself in the seed, above the other guy. So, great game, man. It's heck, football. Game answers, like you said.
Yeah, I'm seeing comments here. Pretty much everyone's kind of saying the same thing. So Drunken Duncan, we won't be playing too many teams that have the defensive talent that the Ravens do to play tight and get pressure like Baltimore. If we can get after a D like that, this O is only going to thrive this year. And then Osmall says, guys, it's the Ravens' first game of the season. We will not look the same. It will look better than last year's season's first game. Yeah, 100%. How about those Chiefs?
Yeah.
And I just want to make a general comment and get JD's take on this too. We're now 5-1 against Lamar and the Ravens. So he's 1-5. That's gotta be, they talk about real estate in people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of mini malls are we building up in Lamar Jackson's head at this point? Because 1-5 it's pretty daunting. And how many of those, obviously 0 would just be like, I can't beat them. But that 1-5 is pretty close to I just can't beat them, right? I mean, that's got to play with you as a player. That's got to – next time he's playing against us, he's asking himself in his head, as much as he wants to say how confident he is, Like, what do I got to do? I can't beat these guys.
You know what? I believe. Well, this is what I know. I know my approach, and guys around me, our approach was every game is different. Every single game is different. So if I start playing into he beat me 5 times, what I need to do to win, then we're not going to be any good. If I had to think about every little thing or what I wasn't able to accomplish, okay, and continue to keep my mentality there, I'm gonna be a wreck on anything. Then you start seeing guys, getting a little shaky and balls being thrown different type of way. The next thing you know, these guys are the shell that they form themselves. I think Lamar understands because he's so confident in his abilities. He knows he has a chance, and it's always just right there for him, just always right there. And I think every chance he's there, he's like, oh man, we had it. Man, we had it. But I don't think mentally it's weighing on him as much. I think, when you do lose to a guy, I don't care how many times, again, let's go again. My older brothers, I'm the youngest side. Again, I got beat. Let's go again. I'm a competitor. That's what we do. And so I would, my brothers never let me quit. Well, I never wanted to quit. I didn't care if they beat me here and there. I needed that one time an opportunity just to beat them. Get the last bucket, last shot, so I could celebrate that day, right? So, I think, man, Lamar's all right. I think he's balanced mentally about where he wants to be, who he is.
As a Ravens fan, I might be more mad about the play before that toe play. Like
missing Zay Flowers in the back of the end zone.
Flowers was wide open. Mm-hmm. Like that would have been a really brutal play to lose on because you just look around shaking your head going, because at least the other play, the likely one would have been a great grab. Like he had to make a play, but the other one, it was just bad defense. He was just wide open. It was a miss from us, right?
Yeah. That's why I was looking to see what they were actually running, because it looked like it was going to be like one of those 2-man, but Bolton didn't really cover the middle at all. So I didn't quite know what it is that they were running. It couldn't have been because somebody had to been running with Zay. So as far as defensively what they ran right then, it was kind of I was like, what is this? What kind of coverage are they running? I had to go back and check it out to see, man. But I know somebody messed up. Somebody was over there in the middle. He ain't supposed to let that happen like that.
He actually had 2 bad plays. I think he held on to that other likely corner one way too long.
Yeah, he could have let that one go earlier.
He should have had one more play after this. They should have burned all 4 downs on that last one.
Mm-hmm. I think it was the first likely play that he threw. He actually had pressure, and he had to bounce a little bit, and then he threw it. And I think that's what it was. His feet weren't set on it like he should. So it was a longer play for him. I think in that moment, man, that's where you need your defensive line to step up, man, get the pressure that they need. We just didn't get there toward the end.
Yeah,
I thought we were.
Yeah, that was one thing. That's where I wanted to go next. It seemed like, for the most part, we contained the Ravens' offense. For the most part, they had some big plays here and there. But it did look like, I'm saying Patty, Saddy, our defense looked gassed towards the end. It did look like that, Jay, but you saw Jones and Karlaftis on the ground, sucking wind, sucking air. Karlaftis a few times, JD, where he was like kind of standing up with the lineman who's blocking him, not really moving. There was a few times throughout the game. Back in my high school days, coach sees that as those are loafs. And you're gonna have a few gassers if you're gonna be winning at the end of games like that. You gotta get some more gas, run some more hills to get in shape for the games. But on the serious side, though, I mean, what did you make of what you saw from the D line? It looked like the 2 guys that stood out to me as far as what popped off the screen to me, who looked kind of not out of shape, but just kind of out of sorts. It's first game of the season, so I'm not gonna be upset by it. But Noddy and Nick Bolton were 2 guys tonight that just kind of looked like I don't know, not lost out there, but Bolton for sure didn't look Nick Bolton we're used to seeing. He didn't look
sure.
Yeah, he just looked slow. I know he didn't really play much throughout the training camp. He was back off and on injuries and stuff during training camp and whatnot, but he's kind of looked off tonight. But what did you make, JD, of Bolton and just the defense in general?
Sucker's out of shape, man. He ain't been practicing. It's that simple. You know, when you're talking about having a full game, this is everybody's full game. You can practice as hard as you want to, but it's hard to simulate an entire game and being in there, especially when you have to go. Okay, first off, let's get this straight. We got 53 guys now. It used to be 93. So you get a lot of rest. It'd be a lot of guys rotating with you. Yeah, you felt fresh. You're like, I'm ready to go. And then when you get out there in Kansas City in the heat and the humidity, even at night, you got the pads on, and this is something, your very first, challenge, okay, with a Baltimore Raven team, you're going to be gassed, especially if you haven't been practicing. So Nandi has to catch up with that. Bolton has to catch up with that. And I don't care how many times you run on the sidelines, trying to get ready, get on the bike to try to get ready. Getting out there and running after a guy who has a football is tiring. And hitting somebody and having somebody lay on you, that right there hurts. And so that's what we saw. We saw that. Ain't no different. Shoot, you know that, man. It's, you get a chance to get some wind from anywhere. I guarantee they was telling Leo Chanel, like, just lay down there for a little bit. I don't care if you heard or not. Just lay, okay? Sit there, sit up, sit back, and just let us get some time. Look, time of possessions, 33-43 to 26-17. So they had more opportunities. And I said this at the very beginning. The penalties that they had affected us too, adversely. Why? Because our defense is still out there on the field. So you still had to contend. There's still more plays that they're running. So, yeah, it's like, okay, well, they get down. You try to get them third down. Well, the whole lining up, right? That whole deal. With them. How many penalties they have like that? 6, 5? So I just look, but I guarantee they were fussing so much about how we lined up that they were sitting there saying, watch the Chief how they lined up. Juwan Taylor be lining up back there. And they said, noted. And guess what? We're gonna call it all the way around. And they sure did.
Yep.
And they caught them jokers with their head in the cookie jar several times. And if I was the tackle, I would grab at guard and say, scoot your tail up. Scoot your tail up. People don't understand that sometimes it's the guard that hurts you because he's lining back up. Heck, he's lining back up where the tackle's supposed to be. You ask yourself, well, now why are you taking that much of a depth step? You don't need to be back that far. If anything, you want your hands on the guy right now. So that's what I was saying. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what. I think we got away with some quick some false starts from Juwan Taylor. He looked like he was getting off a little quick a lot of that game.
Yeah.
Worse than the one he was called on, I think.
100%.
I think that was a makeup call, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny because I typed notes during games, and one of the notes I typed was, at least they're not calling BS alignment penalties only on Taylor more. And hey, at this point, it's safe to say Taylor will probably not be the most penalized players this season. But then, dude had 2 in the second half. Come on, man.
He won't let you down.
Come on. You could tell he was really upset by it. He was like, oh, because he's like, I need to get on a good start this year. I need to get up. I need to get on this a good start this year. He blocked really well, but man, it is brutal. But I am glad they're calling on other people. You can't just target one guy all season. That was crazy last year. So I'm glad it's moved around a lot. Defensively, I kind of expected a little of this too. Not to say I thought we'd struggle, but I just expected Baltimore to come out super hungry and fix some of the offensive missed plays they had in the playoff game to correct that this time. And they did. Lamar was a lot more aggressive running the ball. And again, they had that terrible loss against us in the playoffs. They're going to come out hungry. Terrible for a team that a lot of guys didn't participate fully in preseason and camp. What a terrible team to play. Like, Lamar's the last guy. Like, that's like not going to camp all year and then a drill instructor just drilling you for 24 hours of conditioning, man. That was brutal for them. Like, that's the last guy and the last team you want to face after, I wouldn't say being out of shape, but not being in shape, right? Not being in season shape.
Yeah, game shape.
Yeah, like mid. We're not even close to right now, and he ran them silly in that. Shutout. I know you didn't get a sack, or I don't think a pressure, but FAU fumble recovery, Johnny on the spot, and tackle for loss, one of our 3 of the game. So hey, he can hang his hat on that. I'm sure he feels pretty good tonight. I'm glad guys like that need encouragement because, like someone said in the chat, they had Jones rushing from the outside. It just shows you we're missing a rush out there. We're missing an outside rush that we just don't have until Menahue returns. And a lot of pressures on Karlaftis to be that other guy. And not to say he can't deliver on it, but it needs to be more distributed. So pass rush is going to be a thing.
And did Herring? Because I remember he got kind of banged up in the first drive. I don't remember seeing Herring back out there after that. Did he come back?
I don't know.
Because as far as they didn't really make a big to do about that. Obviously, the NBC crew did not. But I don't think I saw Herring after that. Like that one of the first few drives of the game. And that's talk about without a Menahue, Herring is important as far as having rotational guys in there. Especially we are going to be paying a lot of teams that are we don't play Lamar Jackson every week. Thank God. But I mean, to have rotational edge rushers, it's key.
Hey man, I don't.
They returned. He returned. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't see he didn't make any type of noise in the game at all, and it's kind of been like that. And I'm
who Herring?
Yes.
Well, it's good that it's not good that we didn't know he returned. So yeah,
that's the point, right? I'm like, hey man, right. So look, and I said maybe they wanted Cam to kind of get up to speed a little bit, but I thought we was going to see him maybe for the game, and we didn't. Tershawn Warrington was an absolute beast out there.
He was.
And when him and Chris comes in together, they look different. They look different. Both of them looked in shape, ready to go. And Chris, because he hadn't practiced. His is just because he's just strong. He throws guys around.
He's a beast. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a bully. He's just a bully out there on defensive line, right? It doesn't matter he practiced or not. So he's gonna eat your lunch anyway. But Deshaun Warren, man, when I seen him do, the against the center, the guard, he was killing those guys, rookies and stuff, man. He had a really good game.
That O-line looks rough, though, I will say. They're going to have some trouble this year.
Man.
They're going to have some trouble.
I say this.
Lamar's going to be running for his life a lot this year.
I thought we let him off the hook a little bit.
Yeah.
Seriously. And maybe that for me, they was more worried about getting back in coverage, right? Or not having a Snead on playing man because they ran a whole lot of zone tonight, a whole lot of zone. But we didn't run a whole lot of blitz at all. We just sat back, man, and started spying with Chanel. So good game plan, keeping everybody in front of you, keeping Lamar in front of you, trying to do things. But the D-line's the one supposed to cut the gaps off from him running inside. So
what did you? I know one of the things we looked that we talked about as far as defense going into training camp, preseason, and then going into this game was the cornerback number 2. Obviously, McDuffie. After that one catch he allowed to Zay Flowers at the beginning of the game, I don't think we saw him. I don't think Lamar threw at McDuffie ever again. So
I haven't heard his name ever again. That's for sure.
Well, he had that badass tackle on the turnover on downs, and that was it. I never saw or heard from McDuffie ever again. And obviously, he was doing his job. We never heard from him again. But as far as the other guy, JD, we saw Joshua Williams in there. We saw Jalen Watson in there. I don't think we saw Nazi in tonight in the secondary. I saw him. He made a nice tackle on punt return or punt the punt team. But what did you think of the number 2 cornerback? Watson made some plays towards the end of the game. He had the costly DPI at the beginning of the game, which that was the drive they scored on. What did you make of the number 2 cornerback? Do you have a guy that is the number 2 for you?
I mean, Watson and William both came in and played a good. They did a good job. I think probably it's going to go to Watson, but to be honest, I think they like this rotation. You can tell that they were very comfortable with it. And so I seen Jalen do like this, like throw his hand up, like, let me get this one on. I'm like, okay. So they know what they want to do. And maybe this is a strategy, right? Let Trent Duffy take all the hard part all game. We'll keep a fresh corner on their number 2 guy. How about that, right? So that keeps fresh. So we don't have to worry about a guy wearing his legs down. You just make sure you take some series, another guy jumps in, and you just keep somebody who is fresh, who is still able to do the job effectively. So that might be a strategy for the long term. And I'm good with it. I'm good with it. The guys, like I said, seem really comfortable doing it. So they may name somebody, but I do believe going forward, this is still what's going to be able to happen. I think this is kind of the way to go.
Cornerback by committee.
Yeah.
We said it, I think, a couple weeks ago. Watson's going to get he's going to get some work. 11 total tackles, 7 solos.
Damn.
They're throwing at him, man. They are coming after him. So whoever's guarding the number 2 receiver, kudos to him. I think he had a good game, and especially to start that way with that bad PI after the preseason he had to be thinking like the worst at that moment. Like, oh, no. Like, not this again, right? To start the game, he forgot it real quick. He did what a cornerback's supposed to do. He forgot on to the next play and had a really good game after that. So, especially with the work they were throwing his way, So, kudos to him. And I think at this point, he's the number 2. I'll keep tracking his. He does this a couple more times in our fantasy leagues where you can pick up one defensive player. If he keeps getting this kind of work, boy, let me tell you what. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. So,
yeah.
But we said it. We were watching the game. Like, they're just not going to McDuffie anymore. So it's got to go elsewhere. I mean, they got to throw somewhere. So you see tight ends getting looks with linebackers on them. Hill did work. Justice Hill did a lot of work. I mean, Hill was responsible for 3 out of their 7 third down conversions. They went 2 of 5 of 3rd and 10 and longer. Hill got both of them. So,
and that was something, JD, that was something we talked about during the preseason. And obviously sometimes with preseason and regular season, not a lot of carryover, but there's some things that can carry over. And one thing we did talk about during preseason was a lot of teams are checking down the running backs in the middle of the field against those. And they're just going to the running backs a lot. And today we saw that. It looks like they exploited that a little bit with Justice Hill. Where was that coming from as far as how are running backs able to kind of do this against us?
This film study. And so we seen in the preseason at angle route, they ran an angle route for a touchdown, and Leo Chanel knocked it down. I was like, oh, there's an angle route. We kept talking about it. Then we kept saying like, yo, they run this angle route to perfection, and it's killing our linebackers. It's killing them. So I think that was the matchup there. McDuffie came in, they still threw at him. Remember, he got hurt, he came back in, and then they threw at him again. So to them, their strength was Andrews, and Likely. That was it. That's the matchup. If you got a guy who's gassed up, who hadn't been out there, and Nick Bolton, right? You got a bigger linebacker in Leon Chanel, okay? And you got Drew Tranquil who's coming in and kind of, giving these guys, a little bit of some reserves. I think to them, let's do it. Let's throw the halfback. Let's throw it to the tight end. Okay, and they was dumping it down. Matter of fact, the one they threw to the I'm looking at cover 3 because that's the only thing it could have been. Joshua Williams was in there, and Nick Bolton came to cover the flat. He couldn't get out there fast enough. Okay, still trying to get his legs, and they did it for the first down. That was the one Hill caught. That was one of the first downs. He went up the sidelines, and Josh Williams came back up. And I'm sitting there like, man, you didn't have to bail that much. You could see the guy coming from the other side if he's in zone. So why do you bail that much? You leave all of a sudden Nick Bolton one-on-one with Hill, that's a bad matchup. I'm sorry. So it just makes sense. When you got teams like that, you look who can cover who, right? I think they thought their strong suit was the tight ends and the running backs on our linebackers.
Yep. Our guy Mike Brennan says Likely stole that job tonight. Andrews looked like a shell of himself. I will say, when people want to talk about, I feel like people talk about Kelce sometimes, like the way Mark Andrews looked tonight, and the two are very not similar at all. I mean, Kelce's his longest grab. I mean, he looked good on that longest grab he had tonight. Andrews, I know he's recovering from the injury, but Yeah, likely looks like the guy over there between the two of them. And obviously Lamar. I mean, I think he led the team in targets. Well, likely did from Lamar. So he's got the trust there factor with likely. So what I wanted to ask is, and obviously Monday is our grade show, and JD's going to go into grading the positional stuff. So tune into that. But JD, first game for Kingsley, King Suma, and you said this is going to be one of the keys to victory was seeing how he looked. I thought it was funny because Collinsworth posted the Collinsworth was talking about King Suma during the game. Like, oh no, he's doing a great job tonight. You know, if you look at these clips and all the clips, I mean, the guys were pressuring Patrick, but they were getting hands on Patrick and getting to him. But what did you make of King Suma's his first game in the NFL?
It was decent. I'm glad he got exposed to it. He's going to get another exposure against Bengals. The more you do and challenge him early, the better off he's going to be later. I can't stress that enough. And I go back to how we did our young corners the same way. And so you let them go ahead and get to work. Let them take their lumps right now. Let them learn what they need to do. You know, you coach them up, talk about getting his hands and his feet and all the, you know, what he needs to do as anchor to help him out. And so when you have a team like Baltimore, Cincinnati, then you got Atlanta, then you got the Chargers, the Saints, these are some defensive ends he's going up against, man. So it's good to go ahead and get that experience right now. He hasn't seen anybody upset our guys. FAU, then a couple guys on, you know, the first quarter. So this is his first challenge. He gives one up. And like you said, they were back there swiping at Pat each and every time. So, yeah. He'll get better. It wasn't bad. He'll get better. So it's promising that he didn't give out more than that. He just know now how close that really is. And so you just got to keep working on it, man. Keep working on it. But decent job.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing what grade you give him on Monday. But I think he had allowed 2 pressures and 1 sack were the numbers for him. And I'm curious.
And 1 penalty, right?
And 1 penalty. Yeah. And I'm curious as far as what constitute a pressure, JD, because for me, when I'm watching those clips, I'm seeing them get hands on Patrick. I know he's already released the ball by that point, but I mean, I feel like that is, you know, that's a pressure. I mean, you know, like
some of those were hits, I think, QB hits.
QB hit, yeah. So yeah, I'm sure he racked up. I didn't see what his QB hits were, but I'm sure he racked up those for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, they could likely look like under duress, possibly letting the ball go. He has to move his feet for pressure, readjusted. So, but yeah, that look, and they got good pass rushers. It's Baltimore, man. Got a good defense.
And the guy who was going up against Owe was the guy that we wanted a couple years back.
Yeah.
And Mike Brand points out this is also something they highlighted on the telecast. Andy lets him out there by himself a lot. Were you surprised that they didn't give him a lot of help out there?
Somewhat, but you know, at that point, I guess it's based off what are you running, and so sometimes you got to set the defense where it has to be set, right? So I kept hearing Patrick's call, and he was calling, you know, the strength. And so sometimes you just got to go, you know, the protection, right? So from what you see, but it was good. Like I said, it's good to challenge him early. It's good to do that. If they didn't believe in him, they wouldn't have put him out there, right? That's the way I look at it. And so I think they're pleased. They're going to be pleased with this. Like, man, you did a good job. Okay. There's some things we need to coach you up on to get better, but first game, not bad. Not bad. You're going to get better.
Good building block.
Yeah.
And they were probably using the beginning of the game to see if they should give him help. Like, let's see how he does. If he struggles, we'll get some chips in there. So, and he proved that he didn't. He was like, all right, I think he's okay. I mean, yeah, he's got to work through some things, but he's our left tackle, man. He's going to, there is a sink or swim part of this to the job. So, he looks the part. There are going to be some bad days, but
yeah,
he's a rookie.
Yeah,
and he wasn't out of the gates left tackle, the future rookie either. Like he was a rookie that needed a little work, right? So he needs some polishing. So
right.
come out of the gates not getting any help on an island against the defense that led the league in sacks last year is pretty good.
Yeah. He wasn't coming out just penciled in as a starting left tackle. It was a wait and see. Wanya gets hurt, doesn't really show it. They put him in. He does a good job. Okay, the job is yours. So, you go out there and represent, and you did a good job of it. So, the times that he was trying to get some from Tooney, I don't know if y'all was watching the battle on the side, man, but what's his name? Namdi? The Duke, the guy, the nose tackle from the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Sucker right there, boy, is a handful. He was feeding them everything that they wanted. I'm telling you. And I was just watching the battle. I was like, wow. They was battling, man. You go back over his film, go check it. Just take a little gander at that. Watch that little battle inside there, okay?
He's a handful.
Yeah.
He earned his money for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, Bolton's not playing a guy that wants the do-re-mi, okay? So you better get up the conditioning real quick if he wants to prove that he wants to get paid as a middle linebacker. Let me tell you.
Those hills, gassers. He's gonna do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, he got a little time. It ain't gonna slow down for him. Cincinnati Bengals, man. He's gonna put in that extra work after practice. That's those gassers after practice. You know, where you see a guy out there with his shirt off running, just he's trying to get there. He's trying to get there.
If I was a coach, I'd be like, don't get too excited about the extra few days we got. We're going to run your ass and practice good.
So before we get out of here, we got a question from our guy, Mike Brennan. What is the point of KC keeping a 7th wide receiver when Hollywood comes back? KC should go down to 6 wide receivers. It was interesting. Didn't really see Hardman or Sky Moore out there. I think I saw Sky Moore get like 1 snap on offense. It was on the play actually where Pacheco rolled over that guy and got the first down. That was the only time I saw Sky Moore out there offensively. I'm sure he plays special teams. I didn't really look at number 24, but didn't really see Hardman or him really make an impact offensively as far as getting a lot of reps out there or snaps out there. Were you surprised by not really seeing much of 17 or 24 on the offense?
No, not really. Like I said, man, we look at the time of possession. As far as I don't even know how many offensive snaps did we have. Especially when other guys are eating too. I think they were comfortable who they had in there. And so Noah Gray comes in, he catches a few balls. Patrick catches some, gives the ball to Pacheco. They're like, oh, okay, well, shoot, this is how the temperature of this game is going to go. It's the tempo. So sometimes you just got to go with it. That 7th receiver probably going forward, probably won't dress for the game. But I will say this, McCole Hardman needs to be our returner. He's the one I trust. I don't trust anybody being out there. I don't want Xavier Worthy to be doing any of those things.
No.
Put him in McCole Hardman's hand, okay? That's the guy. So,
not Carson Steele kick return? No?
Yeah, I mean, you had 2 guys back there. If he catches it, take off.
Yeah.
Take off. So,
yeah, and play disparity 74-50. So Baltimore had 74 plays to our 50.
Jeez, almost 25 more plays. Yeah, man. So that goes into, you're and usually average around 60 something, close to 70 plays a game. So 50 is fairly low. It's fairly low. So if you got somebody going and hitting their head on the goalpost on, reverse, and you throw one deep, guy on the sideline, cut down on some of the plays, man. Hey, you can't do nothing.
I was going to say, because Carson Steele also got a crash course in how fast the NFL is. He stiff arm a guy, and the guy got up a millisecond later and tackled him. That's how fast the NFL is.
Yeah. He's like, go down. He's like,
all right, bye. And then snap, just came up like Undertaker, just grabbed it and put back down. It was like,
get over here. It's like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, I think he realized he's not in the MAC anymore. He's in it's the NFL now. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us, guys. We hope everybody enjoyed our post-game reaction show. I know it was late here. The thunderstorm. When I saw the thunderstorm warning and they pushed the game back 20 minutes, I was like, it's gonna push the post-game show back. It's gonna be like 2 a.m. by the time we're done with this. But it's 1 a.m. over here on the East Coast. But I love you, fellas. We'll be back on our show, our channel, Chief Concerns, Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for JD. We'll go over his grades for the game today, and we'll also take questions from the chat. So definitely hop on over to Chief Concerns on YouTube.
Real quick. How did y'all bets come out?
I went 3 for 5. Kelce didn't get 60 yards, and Pacheco only got 2 catches, not 3 catches.
Oh, he only got 2?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he'd had that 3rd if he had caught her. Oh.
Yeah, the safe one worked out, didn't it?
Did it? Did you?
I didn't hit that one. I didn't hit that parlay. Okay. I missed that one. I was 4 out of 5. I missed it because of Henry didn't get 15 carries.
Wow.
I thought maybe if they didn't blow their timeouts in the third quarter, maybe they could have kept running the ball a little bit on that drive if they had the time. Maybe he would have gotten it then. But I hit 2 other parlays. I think overall I went like 13 of 12 of 14.
Yeah.
But the one that matters though, you lost that one. So.
The one that matters. The one that matters is the one that gets you money. Okay.
No, it's the one. That's not the one that matters, buddy.
4 or 5.
Yeah, it's not.
2 carries away.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, we hope everyone enjoys the weekend, enjoys football. We got football tomorrow night, Packers, Eagles in Brazil. So enjoy that one. Then Saturday, college football, and Sunday, the whole week one slate comes on. And as Chief fans, want to know, you get to watch those games stress free and just be a football fan that day, not to worry about anything else. So
we just beat a very good football team.
Yep.
This is the charge, and I want to say this, okay? And I meant to mention it before. Patrick Mahomes pushing the pal to get Pacheco in is a show of his dedication about what they're trying to do this season. Okay? They're trying to win it for each other. And they know this is something that these guys can live in history all together by doing it together. And I think doing that, because we know we're going to run a quarterback sneak, and that sucker put his head in and got into the pal. You think he was getting fussed on the sideline? Like, hey, man, what are you doing? Like, we don't need for you to start pushing on pals, getting inside there to get hurt, right? And I guarantee Patrick's like, hey, man, we're going to do what we need to do to win. So
it's making an extra play. And also on top of that, don't forget that he had a deflected pass into that game that could have been very bad. He goes up there and mosses both the Ravens defenders to get that catch.
Yeah.
Very important play.
Very important play.
That's another 20 seconds that they didn't have, and that would have been one more play in the red zone for them.
Yeah,
I would say I think the stall, I know we're closing out. I thought the stall was when he just threw the errant pass, the interception.
Terrible.
And it was like, where the hell did that come from?
Who's he throwing to?
Yeah. I think he was trying to throw to Rice, but he had the pressure, and he's like trying to loft it.
It looked like he was in between throwing in the dirt and throwing it at Rice. He'd do it right in the middle, which is a Raven player.
Yeah.
You're seeing ghosts out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, we hope everybody enjoys the weekend. I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. We'll see you guys Monday. Love you, fellas.
Love you, fellas. Y'all be good. We'll see y'all later.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.